morning and welcome to Homestead in the Woods. My name is Catherine and today is dog food day. I don't buy dog food usually for my dog at the grocery store or any of the other farm type stores. I just don't feel like the ingredients that are in those dry dog foods are very healthy. And if you look at the ingredients, there's a lot of corn and other grains in there that animals really shouldn't be eating, especially large dogs like we have. We've got a Great Pyrenees, and so they only have a lifespan of about 10 years, and they have a lot of health problems with joints and arthritis and things like that. So I try to feed her in a way that will keep her as healthy as possible for as long as I can. So I'm going to be making her food today. It will probably be about 14 days worth of foods that I will keep in the freezer and refrigerator and just pull out on a daily basis as she needs to be fed. So I have usually a recipe that I use, which is pork, chicken, and beef liver. And I also include vegetables, and this is just a California style vegetable mix that has carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower, and she actually likes that very much. I use cranberries, and this is about 2 cups worth of dry cranberries. I'm going to be cooking up 2 cups of whole grain brown rice, and I use ground flaxseed in there as well. So those are the ingredients that I put into the dog food itself. And then I also give her probiotics, multiple vitamins, and Cosequin along on top of her food. So that's what I'm going to be cooking today. Just stay tuned. This is the meat that I use for Molly's dinners. There's 2, probably 5-pound a piece boneless pork loin roasts. And I've got some boneless, skinless chicken breast. She doesn't do well with real fatty foods, so I'm trying to use the more leaner cuts. And then she has beef liver, and that's 4 packages of that. They're 1 pound each, so that would be 4 pounds of beef liver. So those are the meats that I'm using for her dinners, and they're all ready to go, and they're going to go into the oven and bake at 350 for whatever amount of time they're going to need. And then I will be continuing with the process of making these foods ready to go. The meat is all cooked and out of the oven. Yes, the dog is a little bit spoiled. The hard part is getting my husband to leave this pork alone so I can get it cut up and put into the dog's food. I do try to leave him a few bites just so he doesn't feel like the dog's getting better than he does. Okay. The meat is all cooked and it's time to start putting everything together. So I prepared 2 cups of brown rice in my steam cooker. And so that's the very first thing that's going into the bottom of the bowl. Still steaming hot. Just kind of break it up a little. So just as a disclaimer, I am not a dog nutritionist. I have no specific training in making dog food, but when you look at the ingredients that are on processed dog food packages, there just didn't seem like there was a lot of nutrition in there, and my dog certainly didn't enjoy it. So I looked at the raw dog food possibilities, and that was just kind of icky to me. I didn't want to deal with that, but the gently cooked human grade meats I thought was probably going to be the best thing for me to do for our dog. And so anyway, just want to do that disclaimer. I am not a dog nutritionist. So we've already got the brown rice all cooked and in the bowl. The next thing I usually put in is the vegetables. I always put everything through my food processor. It does a really great job. The only thing I don't put through is the cooked liver. I tried it one time and it made it more like into a pate, and it was just kind of icky. So everything else goes into this food processor and does a really great job. All right, next after the rice, I put in the vegetables. These are just Walmart's brand of carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower. It's the California blend. I'll do maybe 1.5 packages. Oh, that hit the floor. And then do the other 1.5, and then let the vegetables are in. It is important that you get some vegetables into your dog's diet. And if there's some big chunks in there, my dog does not care. She actually eats every bit of these vegetables. I initially hesitated to put any grain at all in the dog food, but I just decided brown rice is really not too bad of a thing. It's not like, corn and wheat gluten and all of those others that do tend to cause some allergic issues with animals in general. All right, that is it for the vegetables. I'm gonna try to come over to the camera and show you what the texture is of the vegetables. So there it is. And it mixes in very well. And again, my dog doesn't care if there's chunks of carrot or whatever. She eats all of it. I think the hardest part, or the thing that takes the longest really, is getting everything packed up into the bags, because this part of it really does go quite quickly. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add in the ground flaxseed. It needs to be ground, don't put in whole flaxseed. The shell on the flaxseed is so hard that it will go right through your dog's digestive system. It do ours too. It will go right through without ever being utilized at all. So I'm going to sprinkle in, about a cup. Now that this has been opened, I'm going to be keeping it in the refrigerator just so that it doesn't spoil. I'm also adding in the 2 cups of dried cranberries. All right, now it's down to the meat. And this is a really high quality KitchenAid food processor, and I've got the blade, regular blade down in here. So I really just cut the meat up in chunks and throw it in there, and it really does a good job of shredding it. For the longest time when I first started doing this, I was cutting it all by hand. Oh my goodness. Shredding is the way to go. Let me show you the size of chunks that I'm using here. That's just a chicken breast, boneless, skinless. And depending on the size of the meat, I might put just 1 in, I might put 2 in, I might put 1.5. So this is a large one and a small one, and that will be about right. My goodness. All right, and it just comes out that easily. And I will show you how the texture comes out with that. Very crumbly, all shredded. going to go ahead and shred up the rest of this chicken, and I will be back. So I am down to the last chicken breast. I did want to mention that you have to watch out for bones in this. I do occasionally come across a little something, and I don't want it to cause any problems for my dog, so watch out for the bones. There shouldn't be any, but everything is mechanically done these days, so we'll have to just be careful. The other thing I want to mention is these are sheet pans, and I covered them well with foil, and there's a lot of drippings in there, so I make sure that all of those drippings go into the bowl with the food. She absolutely loves it, and it adds a lot of flavor for her. And because I have the foil, I don't have to wash the pan afterwards. That's a real plus for me, because these big pans are kind of bulky in the sink. So I'm going to finish with the last chicken breast, then I will dump the juices into the bowl, and then we'll continue on. I'll probably do the liver next, and that's all going to be by hand. So all of the boneless, skinless chicken breasts are all processed, and in the big bowl with the rice and all of the other things, I have a nice clean sheet pan, so one less thing to wash. I will set it aside, and I decided, since I've got the food processor out now, I'm going to go ahead and do the pork next, and I'm going to get off camera here for a minute and get a plate and find a little piece for my husband to gnaw on when he comes in. All right, get a little piece off for the husband first. There's a lot of juice in this particular pan from the pork. So because this is a pork loin, there's not a lot of fat. And as I said earlier, my dog does not seem to tolerate fat very well. It gives her problematic stools, and so I'm just trying to find out which works best for her. And this is what I have. This is the recipe that I found that works the best. A large package of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 2 of these pork loin roasts, and then 4 packages or 4 pounds of liver. Everything is cooked, and she does really well on that. I will occasionally give her maybe some fresh fat or something like that if I haven't had the time to make this up for her, and she'll eat it. But on day 3, she's like, no, I want my mama dinner. So she's gotten spoiled. All right. This is just pieces for the husband plate. I'll put it aside for him. I know he'll come looking for it. He will smell the pork. And all of this meat came from Walmart, so it's not like it's hard to find. It is human grade, for sure. This pork is really still quite hot. So I just kind of generally coarsely chop it up first into smaller pieces. Really only needs to be cut up so that it will get down into the food processor without making it bogged down. If you put too much or pieces that are too large, then it won't shred. But this pork does a really good job of getting shredded in this food processor. Can you imagine doing all of this by hand and not... It took probably 3 or 4 times before I said, hey, I've got a food processor. Why am I not using it? And so this really has streamlined the process. It changed it from an all-day event to a couple of hours and it's done. And then I have food for her for 2 weeks. Depending on the size of your dog, if you do the same type of thing, it might last longer. My dog is 125 pounds, but she doesn't eat like you would think a 125-pound dog would. She has nutrient-dense food, and she just eats 1 bowl of it, maybe 3 or 4 cups. I haven't really measured, and that's what she eats. And she does have some regular dog food that she likes that's on the side, so if she is a little bit hungrier after she's done, she'll eat it, but otherwise she doesn't. And she's just happy with what she gets here from the mommy made food. All right, kind of needs to a little bit of a roadblock in there, so it needs a little stirring. Try it again. And you probably noticed I've got some gloves on now. I got to thinking about cutting up the liver here pretty soon, and I don't really like the smell of liver on my hands, so I usually glove up for that process. The other thing I try to keep ahead of is getting this mixed pretty much in between items that I'm putting in, because it can get quite full and cumbersome the more you get in it. So if you don't have to mix everything in completely all at one time, it just works better mixing it every now and then to incorporate everything over a greater period of time. Okay, I'll do a little bit more. I forgot to show you the consistency of the pork. I will do that and then show you, and then cut this other one up off camera, since it's probably about as boring as watching paint dry. A little bit for the cook, right? Put on gloves, your nose always starts itching, right? Right, that looks pretty good. I think I can just come over here with the whole thing and show you how very nicely that shreds up. If you put a fattier type of pork in here, it might kind of glob together a little bit, but this pork loin does not do that. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off, finish up this other piece of pork loin, and then empty all of the drippings down into the bowl, and then I'll come back and we'll do the liver. Okay, I'm now down to cutting up the liver. Not really any fancy techniques for that. I just try to cut it into some thin slices in one direction, and then flip it around, just kind of cube it, do it in the same direction, and then into the bowl, and that's about it. All right, here is one very large bowl of dog food. So the next step at this point is just to dish it up in the individual containers. What I'm using are reusable containers. I get these from Walmart. They can be purchased online in packages of like 15, I believe. And they get put into the freezer, and I bring them out as needed to feed the dog. And that's pretty much it right there. And the dog has a good nutrition. You don't need to worry about recalls and all the terrible things that keep showing up in commercially prepared dog food. So this is the way I prefer to go with my dog. And again, I'm not a dog nutritionist, so if this is something that you want to do, just keep in mind that you need to do your own research on the needs of your dog, whatever specific breed that is, and do the best thing that you can for your pet and your family and your homestead. So thanks for coming and joining me on this video. If you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see some more, please like, subscribe, and share. And make sure you hit that little bell down below and you will be notified whenever I put out a new video. Thank you for joining Homestead in the Woods, and I will see you on the next video. All right, here is Molly, the official taste tester for this recipe. All right, Miles. Is that good stuff? All right. She's too busy eating.